How to study effectively. Hello, our dear students, listeners, and readers. My dears, the biggest problem that I've faced during 22 years of my work is that most people just don't know how to study effectively. They think that studying means remembering information, and they think so because to get a good grade at school, we have to repeat our teacher's words or something that we've read in a textbook. Many people believe that this is what studying means, but it isn't. As a matter of fact, remembering words and then repeating them is something a voice recorder does. You'll play the role of a voice recorder, nothing more. This explains why during 10 years at school and 5 years at a higher educational institution, people tend to develop this simple skill, a habit, and they think that this is how they study. But as I've already mentioned, it is not what study really is. Study is something that brings about changes into your life. It isn't just a confirmation of facts or a set of data. It means a change, a specific change in your life. Your character, your income, your level of capitalization, effectiveness, etc. This is what study is. Focus on studying effectively and bring a certain change to your life. If you start practicing the knowledge that you gained during this training, you'll see real changes. If these changes are positive, it means that you've completed the course successfully. If the changes are negative, it means that you haven't learned anything. For example, I couldn't speak English, but now I can. I couldn't save money, but now I can. I couldn't manage my funds, but now I can. I couldn't build a team, but now I can. I couldn't drive a car, but now I can. This is what studying means, a specific change in your life. Keep this idea in your mind. You have to become a person who is capable of bringing about change. You have to be a person who changes things happening around him, who changes his reality. The first thing that I would like to talk about is your emotional state. The point is that your positive emotional state is reflected in everything you do. Success is something that you reach with a certain attitude. Your attitude defines your final results. If you treat your friends well, your friends will treat you well, too. If you express love to your family members, they will love you back. If you take care of your health, it will be good. If you focus on your study, you'll get the results you want. Do you understand what I mean? Your attitude defines your final results. First, positive attitude, then success. Just watch people washing the floors or dishes. If the work is done without a proper focus, you can't expect a good result. But if you pay attention, put your soul into it, you get something extraordinary. What I'm saying is, you should listen to me with your soul, your heart, not just your ears. If you try hard, you'll get what you want. And it's mutual. It's not a one-way benefit. It works both ways. During the years of my work, I've realized that there is an emotional well-being scale. If your life is normal, you live just like everybody else. You are not worse than others. You don't stand out. You are not in need. You don't have any debts. You live within the framework of your achievements. You are neither ahead of others nor behind them. This mentality, the mob mentality, is common for many countries of the former Soviet Union. The state which is below the norm is observed when a person has doubts, when he or she is agitated, depressed, scared, or even close to death. If you are in this state, you might have any of these feelings, and that can happen every day. There are lots of reasons that can make you feel down. You can fail in too many ways. Sometimes 90 to 80% of your ideas are not realized. Your employees disappoint you, partners let you down, customers who you have pinned your hopes on want something that you can't offer. In other words, there are plenty of things that can make you feel bad. Even an argument with your wife or husband can upset you. And when you are upset, you are in the state that is below the norm. Please, listen carefully to what I'm saying about this emotional well-being scale. The state that is above the norm is observed when a person feels happy, inspired, enthusiastic, active, etc. When you are active, enthusiastic, Confident, you start bringing about changes into your life. When a person is confident, he is full of life energy and he takes actions. But when a person is insecure and the level of his life energy is low, he will not act. He may have many interesting ideas, but without confidence, these ideas are just ideas. Every day, we all can be in the state above the norm and then in the state below the norm, and again above the norm and below the norm. The difference between successful people and those who never succeed is that successful people are able to get to the state above the norm faster than others, and they never remain in the state below the norm for a long time. If you are in a state below the norm for too long, this state may evolve into a chronic state, your natural state. The longer you feel it, the more you get used to it. You will have doubts about everything. You will be depressed and insecure. Successful people prefer to improve their state as quickly as possible, and that makes them different. Therefore, since now on, you have to stand out, develop the state above the norm. Sometimes you should do things that other people are afraid to do or think are impossible to do. You could either be a wonder worker or a crazy person for them, but the fact is that you will achieve a lot more than they will. Scientists have conducted a research. They took a frog and put it into a pot with boiling water. As the frog was alive, it immediately jumped out of the pot. Immediately. It didn't want to die. Then the frog was placed into a pot with cold water, which was heated by the fire under the pot. The temperature of the water in this pot was increasing gradually, and the frog adapted to it. Despite the fact that the lid was open and the frog could jump out and save itself, it didn't do it because it didn't feel that it was dangerous to stay. The frog died because it didn't get out, although it could. Why did it happen? Not because the frog didn't want to live, but why? Because it adapted. Do you understand what I mean? Now, let's correlate the frog's state and the emotional well-being scale that I've mentioned before. If you spend too much time in the state that is below the norm, you definitely start to doubt yourself, you feel insecure, etc. I've seen such losers too often. You tell them to save money, but they say that their income is too small to save. You tell them to start doing something, learn something. They say that they don't have time for that. Okay, you tell them to read books to learn something new, but they still don't have time for that. You tell them to start a business, they say that they don't have enough money. You tell them to start working as a vendor and receive commission, they express doubts that someone would want to buy things from them, that people don't have money to buy things. Whatever you say, people will make 1,000 excuses to do nothing because they have adapted. They die every day like the frog. Their future also dies. They make excuses. Don't you think that I don't have any problems? Don't successful people have problems? All I want to say is that most successful people get into situations and have problems which are a lot more complicated than those that ordinary people have. For example, if an ordinary person has to solve problems that might cost him $100 or $1,000, a millionaire faces problems that cost $5, $10, or even $20 million, $100 million. If you are a millionaire, you have to solve such problems. You set goals that cost millions, and such goals have to be achieved. Do you think that there are no problems on the way of achieving such goals? Do you think that successful people don't get tired? You are wrong. Yes, successful people are like alive frogs. Even when their state is below the norm, they recover fast. If you are interested, find a video named Smile on my channel. Regardless of what you feel, you should smile because your internal state determines your final results. If you are depressed, insecure, worried, you face a problem after a problem. Even if you are smart, you will hardly be able to do anything about it. I know exactly what I'm talking about. For 3 years, from 2008 to 2011, I started one business after the other, and every new one resulted in just new debts. 13 different projects. They were all closed because of bankruptcy. I will never forget that. That is why, please, focus on self-improvement as I do. You don't have to work on projects. When I started to improve myself, my brain began working differently because my state was different. My brain started to generate new ideas. I formed another vision. The quality of my plan improved. I changed the strategy. And soon, everything changed. This is why I insist on the fact that your internal state is the real resource. It's your capital. Your state and attitude to the world define things around you. Try to develop the state that is above the norm. The more time you are in the state that is above the norm, the more you will succeed. That is why the first step to improve your state is to smile. Please, smile. Have you ever been in a situation when a person you love touched your hand? I'm sure you have. Sometimes, when such a person touches you or gives you a hug, you feel excited or delighted all over your body. Inspiration, goosebumps. Has it happened to you? If yes, it's good. If not, you should see a doctor. A normal, healthy person experiences such sensations. An unhealthy one might not feel anything. Another situation. A person you love touches you, but it does not make you feel excited. Instead, you feel irritated. Don't touch me. Not now. Please, don't. Has it happened to you? I'm sure it has. But why? It's the same person, someone very close to you. The same hands, touches, but emotions are different. Everything depends on your mood. Your internal state is different. When you are in a good mood, things change. And that's the difference. So if you are tired now, I don't know what state you are in now. You might have had a conflict with a coworker or a bank employee who called you to remind you about your indebtedness, or you have had an argument with your husband, wife, or ex-boyfriend. I know nothing about your mood now, but will you be able to become financially secure? I doubt that. That is why you need to calm down first. Let it go. You should be in a super romantic mood, as if you are going on a date and you've been looking forward to it. Finally, it should be this way in real life. You will have a new future, new reality. And you need to understand that. You will become a new person. When this course is over, I guarantee you that you will become a different person. At least your views and values will change. It always happens to participants of our trainings. We see it every day. So the first thing we should work on is your emotional state. Secondly, the information must be presented correctly. Your brain won't be able to remember everything at once. It's impossible. That's why we are going to use various parameters of perception. One of such parameters is visual perception. I will speak and we will show pictures to you. The second parameter is audio perception. You will listen. The third one, you should write things down. Sometimes a lot of things. It will help you significantly. And finally, spatial perception, emotional one. During the training, I will improve your emotional state and then worsen it again and again. It is all important and interrelated. Can you see this notebook? You have to write down the correct date, time, venue, and each topic of the training. For example, today we are speaking about how to study effectively. It's first. As you can see, there is space on the side of the notebook for you to write down new ideas generated during the training. You should write them down to avoid forgetting them. Write your ideas immediately. It's second. Third, you will have questions. Write them down, too. You will find answers to those questions during the training. I guarantee you that. But you should write them down. If you don't, you'll forget them. If you write down your ideas, what will happen? Your brain will start looking for answers, and those answers will be found, no doubt. You will become more observant. Or it can happen quite the opposite way. You will find the answers to questions because of which you have come to our training. Probably, you have come to learn about the ways to save money or build a team. In other words, it is your goal, your questions. You will get the answers to them, and when you do, write them down immediately, otherwise you'll forget them. The answers will be between the lines. They will be like music. Music is created by moving from one note to the other. How many notes are there in total? 7? And how much music is there in the world? A lot. Infinite amount. That is why you will find answers to many of your questions. Write them down to avoid forgetting them. Write down all ideas and questions. This will help you a lot. Spatial perception works when you write down your ideas. For example, when you are walking along the street and see a cafe, you remember that you've celebrated your birthday in this cafe, or your friend's or your relative's birthday. You remember who was dancing that day and how he or she was dancing. But if you haven't seen this cafe, you will not start recalling such things. Any such thing or idea is related to certain information. They remind you about your success.
больше добились успеха.